Hi guys, welcome to my kitchen and welcome to my home. Today we're making hot dog rolls and hot dog bites, which are basically hot dogs that are rolled in my very famous soft and moist and fluffy dough, and then they're baked in the oven. I'm making full-size hot dog rolls and little hot dog bites, and actually the hot dog bites are for my daughter's birthday, which is still next month, but I'm going to make them today and then I'm going to freeze them because, you know, as a working mom I don't have time to prepare all the food for the party the same day. So whatever I can do ahead of time, I will. So I'm making them today and then I'm going to put them in the freezer, and then the day of the party I take them out and I serve them. So that's also a very, very neat thing to do for parties. And these are the ultimate party foods. I mean, they're like tiny and they're so good, and people would just go crazy over them. Okay, so let's get started. The ingredients you need to make the dough are some dry active yeast, some flour, some sugar, some salt, warm water, a little bit of vegetable oil, and some plain yogurt. For the filling of the hot dog bites, you need, of course, some hot dog, which I will cut in half. And then for the topping, I will need 1 egg and some water for the egg wash, and a little bit of sesame seeds to sprinkle on the hot dog bites. The first part of making the dough is to activate the yeast. So in a medium bowl, I'm going to place the yeast, the sugar, and the warm water. And just mix it around until the yeast starts to foam. It is very important that the water is warm, and that means it should be slightly warmer than room temperature, but of course it shouldn't be boiling. So it's between room temperature and lukewarm. And now we're going to wait for the yeast to start foaming and to activate. And so in a few minutes you're going to start noticing that the yeast starts to foam up. And that means that your dough will rise. If your yeast doesn't foam up, it means either your water is too cold, too hot, or your yeast is not good. So after about 5 minutes, you see how your yeast foamed up and almost doubled in size? So it's perfect. Now we can carry on with the dough. Now, in a large bowl, you're going to place your yeast mixture and the rest of your ingredients. The flour, the yogurt, the salt, and the oil. And start by mixing it with a wooden spoon until it becomes very dry. So at this stage, just use your hands. When the dough sticks together, start kneading it on your countertop. So sprinkle a generous amount of flour, and using your hands, start kneading your dough for about 5 to 8 minutes. If you feel that your dough is too sticky, just sprinkle more flour and continue kneading until it becomes smooth and kind of not sticking to your fingers anymore. If you have a standing mixture, of course you can do this using the dough hook attachment, and that way you don't have to do this work. The KitchenAid will do the work for you. My dough is ready, and I know this because, see, it's smooth. It's not sticking to my fingers, it's not sticking to the countertop, so it's perfect. And this took about 8 minutes of kneading. So just shape it into a ball. In a medium bowl, just add a little bit of vegetable oil, just a tiny little bit, spread it in the bowl, and place your dough and turn it so that it's well coated in the oil, and then cover it with some plastic wrap. And place your dough in a warm place for approximately 1 to 2 hours until it doubles in size. My favorite place to put this is in the oven, which is turned off, of course. There's no air that goes in there, and that's about the warmest place I have in the kitchen. So after your dough has risen, remove your dough and knead it for a few minutes. One or 2 minutes, that's all. Just to get the air out. And then what you will do is you will separate your dough in 24 small balls. You can use a knife if you wish, or using your hands. So first I'm just gonna roll it just to make it easier to cut. It's like playing with Play-Doh. I feel like I'm 5 all over again. Okay, so just cut it into half like that. Another half, another half, and another half, and so on and so forth till you get 24 pieces. So now we're ready to roll them and to stuff them. First, you're going to start by preparing a baking sheet or a baking pan. I'm going to grease it with some vegetable oil and sprinkle it with a little bit of flour. Roll the dough in a rectangle. The side of the rectangle is about the same size as the hot dog, so that it falls into it. Okay, so I'm going to place my whole hot dog and roll it. Pinch the bottom, or pinch the dough in place, and place this seam side down on the baking tray. Again, you take the ball, roll it into a rectangle, and place the whole hot dog. Wrap the dough around it, pinch the bottom, and place the bottom side down, or the pinched side down, on the baking tray. Now for the rest of my hot dogs, I'm actually going to use half the dough. So cut the dough in half. You can use your fingers, you don't have to use a knife. And roll it in a rectangle, exactly like the other one, except it's half the size. And then what I did here is I cut the hot dog in half, like that, to make a tiny, tiny little hot dog bite. So roll it, pinch the bottom, and place the seam side down on the baking tray. So you see, this is like a tiny, tiny little hot dog bite. Okay, the other half of the dough, roll it into a rectangle, small rectangle. Place the hot dog half, roll it, pinch the bottom, and place the seam side on the baking sheet. So after I finish rolling my hot dogs, these are my hot dog bites. And in a separate baking dish, I've placed my complete hot dogs, because they're not the same size as the hot dog bites, so obviously they will not have the same baking time. This is why I placed them in 2 different sheets. So now the last step to do before popping them into the oven is to sprinkle some sesame seed on them. But of course, if we sprinkle some sesame seeds now, they're not going to stick on the dough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an egg wash. So in a medium bowl, I'm going to crack an egg. With 1/2 cup of water. And just whisk it thoroughly with a fork. And now, using a pastry brush, or your hands if you don't have one, brush the top of the hot dog roll with a little bit of the egg wash, and then sprinkle with some sesame seeds. See, now the sesame seeds are sticking, and it's going to give you a super glossy and shiny finish. Gorgeous. And now I'm going to do the same thing with the hot dog bites. So brush a little bit of the egg wash on top of the hot dog bites. By the way, just before starting the egg wash, I have preheated my oven to 200 degrees Celsius. So by the time I finish preparing these and sprinkling them with the sesame seeds, the oven will be nice and hot and they will be ready to bake. Okay, so the last thing to do now is to sprinkle these babies with the sesame seeds before we pop them in the oven. By the way, this step is optional. You don't have to sprinkle them with sesame seeds. But first of all, I happen to love the taste of sesame seeds. And secondly, they will look that much prettier with the sesame seeds on top. So now they're ready to go into the oven. I'm gonna bake them for approximately, these ones I'm gonna bake them for maybe 15 minutes, whereas the larger ones here are going to bake for approximately 25 minutes. So keep an eye on them. I'll tell you the exact baking time after I'm finished. Alright, so my hot dog bites are ready. The dough, I can't tell you enough about this dough. It is so soft and so moist. It's like you're eating a cloud or something. They're so soft. The other ones, the bigger ones, are baking right now. These took around 18 minutes to cook. Okay guys, that's it for today's video. So as you can see here, the large hot dogs, or the hot dog rolls, I've kept them to eat right now, and the little tiny ones I've actually put them in the freezer already. So I only kept one to taste because they're so cute. I mean, look at them. They're just tiny. It's cute. So good. The dough, I cannot rave enough about this dough. You have to try it to believe me. And I strongly urge that you do, because how can you go wrong with these, right? Okay, thank you so much guys for watching. I really hope you liked this video. I know you will love these little hot dog bites. They're just amazing to die for, really. And I hope you make them at your next party, okay? So if you haven't already subscribed, please do so, and do give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Bye!